routinely the injury updates. What were Caitlin and Sophie able to do today, and how do you anticipate their status being?
Well, yeah, I mean, we limited their reps, but really tried to get them up and down the floor a little bit, starting to try to get into game rhythm, game speed, game pace, timing a little bit off, rhythm a little bit off, but continuing to try to work them in as much as we could.
How have you tried? It's been such a disruptive first month. How have you tried to help this team navigate that?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing is just understanding that we have opportunity to grow through some circumstances that might not be ideal. The ball's getting in other people's hands outside of Caitlin because she's not on the floor, and how are we able to get one another in positions to be successful? Players are getting minutes that might have been limited with both Caitlin and Sophie out. I think the other piece is really balancing overuse for players like Kelsey and Lexi, and trying to get them rest and things like that. But we got to maintain perspective. We can only control what we can control, and we want to make sure that we're still continuing to grow and get better in areas. And then when we reintegrate them, then we have to be patient and give grace while allowing ourselves to continue to grow now with them.
And you talked about finding an identity with Caitlin out for these past 2 weeks and kind of getting more people those ball handling reps. Just how have you seen that grow in the past couple weeks of Caitlin?
Yeah, I mean, certainly, Sid's been given more of an opportunity. We had Ari in there as well. Prior to Sophie's injury, Sophie was doing that as well. Lexi's had to. So, I think when you get in situations where teams make it a point to try to take Caitlin out of handling the ball, now we've got other players who have experience doing that. So the first time they're doing it is not necessarily in game in the latter part of the season. So for us, I think other players are getting comfortable in that role. Now it's not always looked pretty. We haven't always gotten the high percentage shots you get with Caitlin on the floor. I mean, that's part of just Caitlin being a generational player, is the way that she not only scores it, but makes everybody else better.
Sophie also talked about maybe she came back a little bit too early after her first ankle injury and then re-aggravated it. So how are you just trying to be cautious with her, especially coming back after 2 ankles?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just listening to the training staff and trusting our gut when we get her out there and see her moving, and if there's any sort of questions or hesitancy in movement patterns and in the way that whatever the sports science pieces that we have tell us that maybe she's not balanced or unequal, that we scale it back a little bit, and that we be patient on that. And the first time that she's out there isn't a game, right? It's working her way back in practice.
This energy in town right now.
Oh, it's incredible. It's incredible. I mean, it's, as someone who grew up in the state of Indiana, and as the saying goes, right, this is Indiana. And so the energy is incredible. It's such a fun time to be in the city. Yes, I was here the last time the Pacers were in the finals back in 2000. I remember being in the building and just feeling that energy, and it's exciting. There's no better place, the epicenter of basketball in Indiana and in Indianapolis.
It's not like the team with championship aspirations needs more motivation. But can actually seeing it in your building, seeing what this pomp and circumstance looks like, it has to plant a seed.
Oh, I'm sure. And I also think seeing the way that the Pacers have done it, right? The way that they've built and rebuilt with the roster, and the patience that they've shown in the roster and in roster movement, the adversity that they faced early in the year, the growing from being this fast, exciting offensive team a year ago to being a solid defensive team that has won playoff games for them. Won regular season games, won playoff games when the offense wasn't necessarily flowing. I mean, 2 of the elite point guards in the game on either side. So I think there are so many things that we can take from this Pacers run. The resilience that they show throughout the course of a game. I mean, no deficit is too much. They stay the course. They play the same way. I mean, all these are great lessons for us to see right here in our building.
What are some of the specific table setting skills about Sydney Close and the made attractive to you guys as a age?
Well, I think first and foremost, being a part of championship teams. Championship team in college, championship team in the W, playing a lot of different roles. I mean, one of the most impressive things to me will always be that Sydney had a number of DNPs. Heading into the finals, the year that Chelsea Gray gets hurt, she has to start, she has to play, and lead them to a championship. Having a player that's a pro like that, having a player who understands the moment, who's great. on the bench, who's great in the locker room, and who stays ready when her number's called is important. It's not just important to have it on the floor, it's important to have it in our locker room so that our young players can see this is what being a professional means. This is what it's like.
Do you see that leadership come naturally to her to encourage her to say anything to anybody? How does that go?
No, I think early just encouraging her and allowing her to embrace that role. You're not sitting back and waiting, but now you see it. I mean, Sid is like another coach on the floor. Every time she's starting to say something, in a huddle or to a teammate or out there while we're doing a drill, I keep thinking to myself, I know she wants to be a comedian, but she'd make a hell of a coach.
Without knowing the ins and outs of how you do things here, how much do the player's always going to say, I'm ready. How much do you trust the player input when you're deciding whether it's time to bring someone back?
Well, there's time to what?
When it's time to bring someone back from injury.
From injury?
The player's always going to
Yeah,
little bit.
Being a former player myself, we're always sometimes a little too ambitious. So I think number one, we watch and we observe. Number two, really rely on the training staff. I mean, the health and wellness and safety of our players long term is the most important thing. And three, as we're evaluating practice, it's like, okay, if she doesn't look like she's moving great, then we'll pull her out a few reps and we'll see. We'll limit the minutes. I mean, and it's not just coming back and playing in the game. It's okay. Well, is it smart of us to play someone for 5-6 minute stretches instead of 2 or 3 minute stretches as they're working their way back, so that we don't have any other setbacks? I mean, now it's not just about the basketball portion. Now it's reconditioning to what it means to play a game of basketball.
Yeah, I'm feeling really good. I think I'm just trying to get full clearance for Saturday, but so far so good.
How frustrating was it for you to recover from one and then immediately have another?
You have no idea. I felt good coming in training camp. Felt like I was in the best shape I've been in since being in the league. Kind of getting the flow with the team, then you get hurt pretty bad, torn up ankle. Maybe came back a little bit too soon, freak accident, so really can't control it. So I just got to keep controlling what I can control. And that was bringing energy to my team, and so I'm still going to do that regardless of where I'm at.
What have you been able to do in the interim to try to keep some cardio, try to get shots up, if anything?
Yeah, when the situation I have going on, you have to be a little bit careful with it, but I think I've been progressing really well every single day, and I'm pretty much full go now, so that's that. I know you talked about getting your lungs under you after you injured your ankle the first time. Has it been about the same process the second time? Yeah, I think so. And it's when you've been out for a little bit, it's just kind of getting your flow back, right? Getting your rhythm, getting your chemistry, especially with the team that you haven't really played with much. It's trying to learn how they're moving and how they're clicking. Then you kind of throw me and Caitlin back in there, and then it's like we're starting from square one again. And so that's the fun thing about this team is that we roll with the punches. We're trying to get all that stuff out of it at the beginning of the season so we can peak at the right time.
When you're a team with championship aspirations anyway, when you see the other occupants of this building literally playing for one here, how much more inspiration is that? How much more does that sort of fuel the fire to get to that level yourselves?
Yeah, I mean, it's been amazing watching the Pacers. They're so much fun to watch. I think we resemble their team quite a bit in the way we're trying to move the ball and the way we're trying to play. But honestly, that's big picture. We need to go day by day. This team needs to focus on what we did today, learn from it, and come back tomorrow and be better. And so for us, we know the big picture goal, but you got to stack the days, and that's what we need to work on.
You say full go, you think you'll be able to play Saturday?
I think I've been ready to go since it happened. But again, I'm not a doctor, so it's really up to them.
What's been your impressions of Sophie Cunningham as both a point guard and a teammate?
Yeah, I think as a teammate, she's such a locker room person that you want. Every team needs someone like Sid. She's funny, she's ruthless, don't get me wrong, she's weird as hell, but we love her. But I think as a teammate, or a player on the court, she's been on championship teams. She knows how it works. She knows the little details that matter every single day. And so just to kind of have her voice and her leading by example is huge for us. What kind of perspective have you been able to get kind of being on the bench and seeing, the coaching staff do their work? Yeah, I mean, when you're sitting out, you just kind of see everything, right? You see things we need to work on. You see things that we're doing really, really well. Sometimes it's frustrating because it's always frustrating, actually. You want to be out there with them. You want to help them as much as you can. But I think you have to find the positive in everything. And so when you go through an injury like this, it can be hard on the mental because one day you're ready, the next day it's swollen and you can't go. And so it's preparing me just to stay ready. And that's what this league's all about, is staying ready.
This team's had such a disruptive first month.
Yeah.
Players in and out, coach in and out. What have you guys tried to do to navigate that while you're trying to understand each other in the meantime?
Yeah, I mean, threat versus opportunity, right? And so if you look at it as a threat, you could say that there's a lot of
weird things happening. We can't catch our rhythm, all that. But what a great opportunity for us if something happens down the road. We're ready for it because we've already seen it. And so that's kind of what I mean by staying ready. You know, you don't know what the day is going to bring. And so from top to bottom, when I say top, that's coaches, that's front office to the bottom. You know, we all got to be ready and be prepared for what's going to be thrown at us.